Oh, so you mentioned Caleb. For some reason, it almost seemed like you guys knew each other. So you don't know him
No, he
like that.
never
Oh,
never met. I
but
feel
he
like I
took,
know
but he took your picture or he
him.
took your post. That is messed
Yeah,
up. That is
yeah.
messed up.
I uploaded it and he used it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have Brian. He is a whale in the making. Actually, he's probably a whale already. The way I found him was on Reddit. He built this nice little farm and I saw the picture of it. Let me just share really quick because I found this to be one of the most interesting things when he said that he had 3 petabytes. Is that right, Brian?
That's right.
That's right. Okay. So let's see if this shares properly.
There it is.
All right, so this was the picture. This was the infamous picture that I saw. Now, if he didn't put this number 3 here, I would have just ignored it because it just looked like some random setup that someone put together and he probably has a stack of hard drives. I wouldn't have imagined it being 3 petabytes, okay? All right, Brian, I'm gonna have you introduce yourself because I'm sure people would like to know who you are, what you've done, and why Chia.
Sure. Okay. Well, my name's Brian Freeman. I'm an attorney in Southern California, and I have a big interest in cryptocurrency. I had a friend who knew the developers over at Chia before they went live on mainnet. So I was very curious about the project from the get-go and started the pre-mine process because I
Right.
believed in it. Ever since they spiked right out of the gate, I kept going and kept building my farm
Wow.
bigger and
So
bigger.
before it went public, you were already mining and plotting and farming Chia.
I was, and yeah, and back at that time, we only had the OG plotter, which was really slow,
Right.
and I wasn't even using Swar yet at that time. I was just using the GUI,
Right.
but it was so not competitive. The net space was so small in the beginning that it was a lot easier to win.
Are you farming or are you mining other crypto besides Chia?
Yes, yeah. So
You
in that
are.
same
Okay.
room in that picture, I
Yeah.
have video cards doing some mining. I flip-flop between Ethereum and Ravencoin.
Okay.
Uh, in
Now, when
fact,
you say flip-flop, is it because you just don't have enough hardware to accommodate that, or you just
no,
haven't
it's
made up your mind?
well, I think coins like Raven, they're relatively low right now, and they have a potential, in my opinion, maybe to 10x.
Okay.
And Ethereum, I think will go up too, but I don't think it's going to 10x like another coin could.
Now it seems like you have a lot of faith in those 2 coins, but what about Chia?
No, I love Chia, and so
Okay.
when I first started with Chia, I thought to myself, this is just the icing on the cake
Right.
insofar as my mining stuff, and I didn't know how it would do.
Right.
But now seeing more and more of what they're working on, I think that they can.
So you still have faith in Chia. Are you still purchasing hardware as far as hard drives and farmers or plotters to do all this stuff, or no?
I sure am, yeah. So
Wow.
as I mine some of the Ethereum or Ravencoin, I'm converting that to cash and reinvesting it. Also, with my day job, I have some profits, and I'm turning that into more hardware as well.
Interesting. Wow, that's very impressive. Now, 3 petabytes, how much did you actually start off when you first knew about Chia? What was your initial start at?
Oh, it was really small when I first started. I only had a couple external hard drives, and as soon as I filled those up, the hunt began to find the best deals on hard drives. And it was right when mainnet launched that the hard drive prices kind of went through the roof. I
Right.
couldn't find those sales anymore. I
Right.
had been shucking, like through Best Buy, I got the external drives, the 12 terabyte drives for $199, and I was shucking those open and putting them in 5-bay USB enclosures. Well, I grew out of that. Like I had probably 30 of these enclosures, and there's cords and cables everywhere. And
Right.
USB is not the best to scale up. I don't know if other farmers are having the same problem, but they would disconnect, and it was just not the best way to do things.
So what is your typical setup look like now as far as how you have all these drives hooked up?
So now I was looking into the enterprise scale JBODs, and I love Amazon. I love how everything gets to my door in 2 days. So I primarily shop there for my hardware now. Sans Digital creates a JBOD, and they're not
Okay.
cheap. They're not cheap, but they've been so reliable. Like you saw in that picture, there's 128 discs in there.
Right.
and there's been no disconnections, failures, slowdowns, anything like it. So I'm just going to go top shelf and keep getting those, filling those server
Interesting.
racks.
Wow, that's very impressive. So I need to know, when the price of Chia came out before the official launch, there was speculation of what the price would have been, right? So, and then it came out, of course, it hit that 1600, and it probably went a little higher. How do you feel about it now that it's gone down to probably in the low 200s right now? I mean, that had to have affected you personally, because you plotted so many of this. You actually farmed a lot of these XCHs, right?
Right, exactly. So in the beginning, there was the Chia calculator website, and people still use that one to figure out their earnings. And their prediction before launch was maybe a $20 coin. So my expectations were really low.
Very low, right?
Very low. And I thought, okay, $20, not too bad. And then I was on vacation when I got a text from my friend that introduced me to Chia saying, bro, did you see it's like $1,600
Yeah,
selling in China right now? I was like, no way. And I looked at it and I was like, I just couldn't believe that.
Now, did you liquidate some of it in order to recoup some of the expenses?
Hindsight's always 2020, right? And I wasn't prepared for this. I was only used to the US exchanges like Coinbase and all the big ones.
I agree.
I was not familiar with these other exchanges that had Chia listed at the time, and I was afraid to do it. I didn't know if it was legal. I didn't know, there were so many more questions than answers at that time.
Yeah, I wasn't so much afraid if it was illegal or legal. It was more like, can I trust it? That was the major factor, is trusting it, opposed to if it was illegal or not.
Well, yeah, and I had both of those concerns, because I had pre-farmed all this coin, and I was thinking to myself, what if it's not secure and I'm transferring out of my wallet into this?
Right. So right now, so that picture is pretty accurate as of now. It's about 3 petabyte and probably still growing.
Yeah, it is. Now, and I have goals of hitting maybe 20 petabytes. That's where I'm headed. Hopefully.
Wow. And are these all solo, or a part of a pool, or a mix of both?
So when I started, the pooling wasn't available yet, so all of my plots were OG, and I slowly have been replaced. Well, not slowly, fastly, quickly.
Well, what's your plot time? I didn't pick that up anywhere.
So I put together 2 RAM only plotters, so 512 gigs of RAM, 64 core AMD processor, Threadripper. Not the Epic processors, but the Threadripper and Threadripper Pro. And they're cranking them out like every 8 minutes, a new plot is generated. And that's about the transfer time actually to get to the spinning hard drives. So it's about 8 minutes per plot.
Interesting. Wow. Your goal is to hit 20 petabytes.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, why 20? Like, how did that come about? Or do you financially, have you set like 20 petabyte will cost you this much and that's your limit? Is that how you calculated it, or?
It's just like a sport for me right now. It's a sport, and I'm looking at the leaderboards.
A sport, wow.
Yeah. I'm looking at the leaderboards on Spacepool, and I'm like, I can.
Okay, so you said that you are replotting pretty fast, and are you joining pools with these replots, or are you just doing a solo still?
Yeah, so I am. I joined Spacepool. I'm a big fan of Caleb.
Yeah, okay. So you have to be one of the bigger farmers on Spacepool then, no?
Yeah, for a while I was in the top 100.
Okay.
But, like I said, it's to me a competition, and there's a lot of dudes going up above and beyond 3 petabytes right now.
You literally turned Chia farming plotting into a competition now, like a sport. I never heard anyone reference it as a sport, which is pretty interesting. That's an expensive sport.
It's a fun hobby, and like getting faster plot speeds was a fun hobby for a while. My background, by the way, before I was an attorney, I was a computer science major.
Okay.
So I've always loved tech, and when I have an excuse to buy new gadgets and toys.
That's a very big difference between IT person and then becoming an attorney. Like, how did that happen? I'm just curious how that even happened, because I'm an IT person. For the life of me, I would never think to become an attorney, but how did that even happen?
So right out of college, I went into IT with my computer science degree, and I was doing more of the programming stuff in a dark room alone, very antisocial. And for me, I needed more human engagement, and diversity in my work. So I thought, this isn't the career for the rest of my life. I need to look outside this box. And what fits my interests best.
Right.
And that's when I transitioned out of IT into law. And now I'm having like a midlife crisis. I'm 41. And I'm like, this now I hate law. I hate all the conflict, and it's like too much people, and I'd rather, crawl back into my hole with computers and
right. So Chia is your getaway. Your
it is my getaway.
Your mining
Yeah.
and your crypto is your getaway, because
Yeah.
you're pretty much doing it yourself, right? You don't have a partner or anyone helping you with your hardware.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so
even
everything.
just shucking the hard drives was like meditation for me.
Yes,
So
it is a peaceful, quiet time. There's nothing to discuss, nothing to talk about. You just kind of start doing your own thing, which I totally understand where you're coming from with that. You have 3 petabytes, you're growing. How's your electricity cost? How's your heating and ventilation going on for that? Is that in your basement somewhere or in the attic, or you have a different facility to house all that stuff?
So, throughout this whole journey, it's been a bunch of trials and errors. And I made my mistakes with Chia. I made my mistakes with my GPU mining. So I started out actually buying laptops, high-end laptops. They had RTX 3070s in them. And I was using those to mine Ethereum. And I bought 20 of them.
Holy cow.
Yeah. That was like a $60,000+ investment in these laptops. And I put them all in my office, which it was a small office. Right. And I maxed out all the potential electricity I could suck out of the wall.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And I'm sure even these laptops, they generate a decent amount of heat.
They feel like blow dryers. I mean, when you crank them up all the way, they're hot. So with 20 of them, the whole room hit like 110 degrees pretty quickly. And I had to get a dedicated additional air conditioner to pump the heat out of that room.
Right.
And I'm fortunate in that I don't pay for the electricity. I pay for the lease, and the landlord pays for the electricity, which I don't know if they've seen the bill yet, but I've been doing this for a year, so I'm
man, that is, I mean, I guess that's a good reason enough to why you would want to put more money into it. You don't have to pay for electricity, right? Or that's just not part of it.
It's not part of it, but cooling is a part of it. And then I do feel bad environmentally. It's just clear how much energy it takes to do this proof of work stuff.
So what's going on with the 20 laptops now? Are they still doing work?
They're still cranking away, but then I realized, they're running Windows, and that's not the best operating system.
Right. There's some
update would happen, it would go offline, and I'd have to physically go there and reboot them and stuff like that. That sucks.
Oh yes,
so I started building GPU rigs that ran Hive OS. And that's so much better because the hash rate drops and it reboots itself.
Now, when they're in the laptop, you can't extract those. Those have to just stay in the laptop to do what it has to do. Yeah.
I'm not aware of a way to take out.
It's pretty much embedded into the motherboard. I mean, because of its small form factor. Okay. Wow.
But it's amazing how fast they are. These laptops with 3070s had 60 mega hash on Ethereum. And usually, they're nerfed. Usually laptops, GPUs are not as powerful as their big
Now, these are you said 3070s, right?
Right.
Okay. Right. So, and now I think they're at 3090.
So these laptops I bought through Costco, and they're the MSI, I think they're called GE76 laptops. And they sold out really quickly. As soon as I bought my 20, I couldn't find them anymore.
You bought 20 all at one time?
Yeah. Well, I staggered it actually. To prove to my wife that this would work.
Because I thought there was like a limit every time they sell things like that.
There was like a 5 laptop limit. And so when I first started this, to show my wife that it works, I bought a few and I let it run and I showed her the reports. I'm like, look at how much money these 3 machines mined, and look at the math if I scale up times 7.
Right.
So then I bought 5 machines at a time, like back to back.
That is amazing. That is wow. I get more, I amaze every time I find more people who are really vested in this stuff, and the amount that they just put into it, which is like mind blowing, because I can never imagine for myself to do something like that. And it just amazes me every time I hear something like that.
Well, the math I was looking at on these graphics cards, it was like the ROI. Some people don't like to call it ROI, but I call it that for short. Just to pay off all the hardware, it was going to take 6 to 7 months. And I thought that is so fast when you compare it to other businesses, even law practice. If you're starting a law firm, you don't expect to be
now for the ones that you have mined already, have you then, I'm going to ask again, have you sold some to recoup some of that cost, or are you just letting it accumulate?
Very little. You know, Ethereum recently hit their recent spike of 4,000, and when
Right.
that happened, I sold $20,000 worth.
Wow.
But I still have a lot, you know, in the
Yeah.
piggy bank. But I'm watching the graphs too, so I'm trying to sell high and buy low. I'm doing both, by the way. I buy some crypto.
You've done all this stuff. Like, why haven't you started your own channel to show what you have, show what you know?
Well, my hat tip to you guys that produce the content. It's a lot of work, and
Frustrating, yes.
yeah. I'm so sensitive to these YouTube comments. I don't want to be hated on. No, I just, yeah.
Oh yeah, I get plenty of those too. Yeah, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, like Caleb, you know, he's producing a lot of great content too. And then there's all the Chia FUD, the haters, they're fearing and doubting the future of it.
Yes. Well, I mean, that goes for every little thing that's out in the world. You know, there's always going to be someone not liking something, regardless of what it is. You know, it could be the best thing in the world for you.
Guys like you making this content, I just haven't thought about doing that yet myself.
Okay. I definitely think you have a substance there for you to, a good amount of stuff to talk about, to be honest with you. So how long have you actually started doing all this stuff? I know some people who started way back in the Bitcoin days, and were you more like up and recently within the last couple of years?
Yes, definitely. So I got serious about it right around when COVID started.
Okay.
I guess a lot of people did around that time because
Right.
crypto started to take off in value. And I was already familiar with crypto from before, particularly Monero, the private coin.
Right.
And when I was looking at Monero years ago, I was just amazed that people would dedicate their CPUs to this process of mining it. It was not very profitable, if maybe not profitable at all. Like it takes more electricity than you'd actually make mining it. So I kind of set it aside saying this is a hobbyist's thing to do that doesn't make financial sense.
Right.
But when the recent spikes happened, I re-looked into the profitability of mining and I saw that Ethereum was just ridiculous. So I kind of dove deep at that time and then learned a lot more about blockchain and economics and the history of economics and stuff like that to make sense of this new world of money.
Yes.
And now I'm like a believer that Bitcoin is a truly revolutionary financial system that, you know, it's just a baby still, even though it's 10 years old.
Right.
And got a huge future ahead in my opinion.
Now, are you invested in any like the stock market, or the fact that you're investing in so much GPUs, are you invested with the stock companies that the chip makers or the vendors of the products that you buy?
I'm not. What's weird to me is that the stock market is more perplexing to me than the crypto market. Like either one is very predictable, but I feel like with crypto, it's more predictable. The only stocks that I have bought was when Chia was causing the hard drive shortage. I was like, I'm gonna get Seagate and Western Digital.
Right. Yeah,
they're gonna have to ramp up
a good jump. Yeah. Nvidia did really well during that whole last year.
Yeah.
I haven't followed it, but you know, so yeah, there were a decent amount of companies. Fox.
And I'm honestly not certain about what the future holds for proof of work with GPUs. Because once Ethereum goes to 2.0 and proof of stake completely, you know, it's mostly altcoins that we're going to be mining with our graphics cards, and I don't know what the future is going to.
What do you feel about those forks that Chia has? Like all these different random forks. Do you do any of those as well, or no?
I right now at this point I'm still very skeptical of those.
Well, why what's so skeptical, as far as no monetary value to it, or just that you don't trust it touching your wallet?
I'd say there's three things that keep me very hesitant to dive into that. One is just on first blush, and I could be making a hasty generalization here, but it looks like they copy and pasted Chia. It's like,
of course, yes.
They took the open source code and they renamed it and put a new logo on it.
Right.
And then came up with some fancy, hey, we didn't pre-mine or pre-farm anything, you know?
I agree.
I was skeptical of that.
Okay.
Number two, the security. Like when H-Pool was getting really competitive, I had concerns about could they get your secret 24 words and steal your plots or steal
Right.
your wallet. That I haven't seen any credible news that has ever happened, but it's still this lingering fear
Yeah,
risk.
it was very hot for a moment on Reddit. Like, people were constantly posting they lost this, they got stolen this, but I haven't seen anything like that more
Yeah.
recently. Yeah, it's been
No,
really
and
quiet.
there was not really credible evidence that was the cause of their loss anyway.
Correct.
Like they
Correct.
would have
Or
stolen.
or of their own fault, or just
Yeah,
publicizing their own wallet by a mistake or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
there's a small concern there with security. I don't want to just try 20 forks and then one of them played dirty on my keys.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. And then you can't sell it yet. So maybe once these hit a market and one of them starts getting popular, then I'll kick myself and say I should have
Right.
tried that fork.
So where you're farming chia right now? Is that it, like in your house, or is it in your office where you say you didn't have to pay for electricity?
So for a while I was doing this out of my house, and then I got my electric bill in Southern California and it was like $1,000.
Oof.
So I was like, I'm gonna separate my personal life and space and make this more of a professional operation. And that's
Wow.
when I found an office that would let me use their electricity. So
Now, did
it,
they know what kind of business you were doing, or was that for your practice of law?
So I started out with my practice of law there, and they had a lot of vacant offices, and
Right.
I then expressed my interest in expanding and starting another computer business. So then they did become aware that I have just tons of computers and air conditioning, and I think they're just happy to have tenants in there.
That's interesting. So the picture that you have that you posted on Reddit, that's of your office, right?
That's one of the offices, yeah,
That's
and it's a
one of the
mess
offices.
right now because it's only me doing the work, and it was
Yeah,
just
that's what I was saying.
moving.
Like, how do you find time to do all this stuff?
It's hard because I have 7 employees from my law firm that I'm managing as well, and court.
Have you once ever asked them to do something outside the realm of the law side and to help you with your crypto?
Yes, in fact, one of my employees loves to do little side hustles, so I gave her a side hustle project. What I did was, since there's a GPU shortage and you can't buy them for, there may be double MSRP.
Oh, yes, yes.
I was
Ridiculously.
buying whole systems like a Dell with
Mhm.
an RTX 3090 in it, and I just ripped the video card out of there
Oh
after I
boy.
got the PC,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I sold the rest. So I had the employee basically sell all this extra hardware I was obtaining.
Like the whole setup without the video card.
Everything but the video card, yeah.
Wow. How much, I mean, how did you calculate? Did you just take the retail MSRP of the video card's price and just deducted it from the system? Because the system usually comes a lot cheaper.
Yeah, so for example, I was able to get some Dells for, I think it was $699. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they
There
had
was some
3060s in them. And so I was like, well, a 3060 alone costs
like
that much.
$500, $600.
Yeah. So I just bought the whole system, pulled the card out,
Yeah.
got, another 200 or 300 bucks back for the.
Amazing. Amazing. That takes a lot of dedication and a lot of that. I mean, that's what do you call it? Like you have to, that's not chump change. I mean, how many did you buy of these?
Yeah, I must have spent close to 200,000 on all my gear so far.
That's like a house. That's like another house. Oh man, but maybe not in California. Probably not where you're at.
Right.
I'm pretty familiar with that only because New York, there's no way you could buy a house for 200,000. Wow, that is awesome. Now we have a little history of you. You've done Ethereum. You never did Bitcoin though, right?
I never did the ASIC mining of Bitcoin.
Never did the ASIC mining. So you never bought any of the bit miners and all the other stuff that they have on eBay or any of that.
Never did. No.
Never did.
And in fact, I even wonder if those are so noisy and loud that the office I'm in might not like that. My neighbors might not like that sound.
Right. Yeah, that humming sound is just constant, that white noise. Your suggestion for people coming on, there's a lot of always new farmers and plotters. What would you recommend for them to do and how to do it, or why they should or shouldn't do it?
Yeah, I think if it interests you, you should at least dip your toe in the water and test things out. So even if you just have one spare hard drive laying around, make some plots, pool plots, and then watch your fractional shares come in, and then do a little math and see like if you do want to scale up. So right now I saw, a lot of crypto tanked in the last few days here.
Yes.
Even Chia came down from like 220 to 190, I think I just
Oh,
saw.
I didn't even see that one. Okay.
Yeah. But it's still good. It's still good. It's not $20. So as long as we're around that
Now,
200.
are you saying that if because of how much you farm and how much you've done with Chia and your initial and because it was forecasted for it to be at $20, if it ever dropped down to $20, you're okay with that?
I'll still keep going. I'm not
You still
unplugged.
keep wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is hardcore.
Now I might not, if we hit the bottom, and I think 20 would be like the bottom.
The 20 will be anything below that, what would you do then?
Well, I'd probably buy Chia then at that point. I would leave my machines on and just cross my fingers and wait for it to come back.
So you honestly think, I mean, let's just say, I don't know how much you spent on the hard drives and the equipment, but let's just say you took a portion of whatever you spent on Chia, and as the prices were coming down, you still don't think it's cheaper to buy it now, even though like you just said, it's like 190 opposed to buying more hardware and plotting.
So I could buy 2 Chia right now for the cost of one 18 terabyte hard drive. And my question to myself is, what would I rather have? Right now, I'd rather have that hard drive.
Really?
Because
okay.
If I fill it up 18 terabytes of plots, it's going to pay for itself in a year and a half about. And I'm great with that. And then I still have a 18 terabyte hard drive, paid for itself.
Now I have seen, and it's not common, but I'm going to bring it up because I do see some posts of people are starting to show failed hard drives. Now, whether it's wear and tear or they're secondhand or brand new, I don't know the details of it, but it is happening. So how would you deal with that? I mean, a lot of people can't afford to like, my 18 terabyte drive died and I'm going to just replace it. Not everyone has that ability, or because it's the limitation of it.
Yeah.
So what would you do?
So the drives that I'm buying are brand new from Western Digital or Seagate, and those have 5-year manufacturer warranties. And the people I followed have had good luck when they've had an occasional drive failure to RMA those drives and have them replaced. Okay. So I have peace of mind with 5 years. Like that's long enough.
So you never buy any used hard drives?
I have not. All brand new.
Oh wow. Wow, you're like totally different spectrum from my last interview where he just looks for the best deal, like however much and where he can find those hard drives that he's looking for.
Yeah, I'm just I guess I've been burned too much on the eBay type of marketplaces, and so rather than deal with the headache of unreliable or untrustworthy sellers, I'd rather just pay a premium. And
so are you buying it as a consumer retailer, or are you buying it through a business where you're bulk buying it and you're getting a business discount?
Well, when I dove into this world of crypto and decided I was going to make it a side hustle, I formed an LLC. So I have my own legal entity doing this business. And then every purchase that I'm making, it's under its own business credit card, tracking all those expenses for write-offs at the end of the year. But I'm going through Amazon. I'm just using these credit cards on Amazon, and it's $393 today for a 18.
And I'm sure you're getting cash back on the credit card, and then you get some incentives there. Oh, that's okay. That's pretty interesting that you're buying everything brand new, which is very unique. I know a lot of people try to shop around for good deals because they don't know how much longer they can anticipate this going, but you're looking at the long term. What is your long term, regardless of price? Let's just say price stays flat throughout the course of this whatever. How long are you going with it, with Chia?
I'll go indefinitely,
indefinitely.
Until my hard drives all spin apart.
Now, I don't know from that Reddit post, right? So it caught my attention. Now, was that your first post that you've ever put a picture of your setup? Because I don't recall ever seeing another setup like that one. I have seen others, but not to that scale of 3 petabytes.
Okay. No, in fact, I think that was my first Reddit post. I did post though, however, to Space Pool. They've got their own Discord and they want
right.
I posted there, and I think Caleb actually showed it in one of his YouTube videos. He didn't know who I was, but he showed the office.
Oh, so you mentioned Caleb. For some reason, it almost seemed like you guys knew each other. So you don't know him.
No, he
like
never,
Oh,
never met. I
but
feel
he
like I
took,
know him.
but he took your picture, or he took your post. That is messed
Yeah,
up. That is
yeah.
messed up.
I uploaded it and he used it, which
Hey, at least I reached out to you and said, hey, let's have a chat, right?
that's right.
No, I love to give props to people who do these things, because it just, like I said, it really, it's amazing to find people who are so dedicated, even though Chia, a lot of people are like backing off right now. They're selling off their hard drives. I've seen hard drive prices drop, and I've seen inventory go up, and
Mhm.
people are not buying as much anymore like they were like 5-6 months ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that hot topic for a second has drifted away. Chia is still releasing videos, and it all shows on, even on YouTube. You have all these different like creators talking about Chia.
Mhm.
Some are already stopped already. Me, I'm still kind of pushing it out, and my views are just dropping because there's only so much to talk about now with Chia.
Yeah, I think that initial hype and excitement has definitely died down a lot. When
Faded.
we saw those prices at $1,800, it created a huge surge.
Right.
But I was fine. I mean, I expected, in fact, out of the gate, it would be way too high due to the excitement. And I thought, for example, H-Pool, that they were going to dump a lot of Chia and the price was going to plummet.
Right.
So I expected that, and now I do expect it though to start riding back up as Chia Lisp and these cool things you can do with Chia start to come to
Are
fruition.
you into any of the Chia Lips programming or development?
I'm interested in it, but I'm a realist in that I know it would take me way too much time to.
Not your cup of tea,
It would
for
become
something.
it would take so much time to be proficient in the
Right.
language and do something with it. Now,
Same here. Yeah.
yeah, but it would be interesting if I could find a good programmer and outsource ideas to about it. So I'll probably be reading up more on that.
Okay. Okay. So how do you now? I have to ask. This other question is, how do you monitor everything that you have with Chia, or maybe we'll focus on Chia. How do you monitor everything that you have? I don't know how many harvesters or farmers or everything. Just 3 petabytes. I don't know. I can't imagine it all being in one particular machine. So I'm sure it's spread across. So how do you manage that, or view all that?
Really good questions, and this goes back to my trial and error problems that I had with Chia. So as I grew, I started buying Synology NAS
Okay.
systems, and I'd get the 12 drive systems, and then I set up remote harvesters to communicate with my main node, and that worked okay, but I was having problems where it would go offline, and then
Yes.
I had lost opportunity of winning. So eventually I was like, this multiple remote harvesters is not working out that great. And what I did then is I took those Dell machines that I took the video cards out of,
Yeah.
installed Ubuntu desktop version 20 on there, and then installed full nodes on each one of the machines. So I had like 5 Dell machines all running Chia full nodes. And I hooked up all these 5-bay USB enclosures. So I'd have about 30 disks attached to each
So
full node.
you have 5 phone nodes on the same network,
I did, yeah.
and that didn't cause any issues as far as winning Chias?
It didn't, especially
Wow.
cooling. I could see it. It was like, okay,
Wow,
I'm
that's
getting
amazing.
partials, and the
Because
partials were all good.
they had all this technical talk about, more than one full node on the same network would cause issues, but you had 5. So you obviously proved that wrong.
Yeah, I had no issues, and I was behind the same, router.
Huh. Okay. So
Uh,
that saved you, that actually, no, that makes a lot of sense, because, but how, I'm trying to figure out, because in order for port 8444 to communicate with that one machine, how did you open it up for the other 4 machines?
So I think the way it works, and some other technical genius may correct me in the comments here, but the communication outbound is unaffected, and it's the
Right.
incoming traffic that wants to get in on port 8444 can't get
Correct.
through. And so what I'm doing is I'm not helping the blockchain. People who need data to be sent to them about the blockchain, they're not getting it from me,
But
because
you're not getting it from 4 of the 5 nodes.
or yeah, exactly. You
Right.
may be getting it from one of the 5
Right.
getting through. Uh, So that's my understanding. And so I'm still able to win and have all my
Wow,
team.
that is you. Yeah, because all this time everyone's preaching you can't have more than one full note, and here you go, you got 5, and you were still win.
So now
Wow.
I migrated though from those 5 machines because I wanted it centralized. And so in that picture, you see the latest attempt to centralize everything in one spot. So there's
Right.
128 drives on there. It's 1.5 petabytes of storage, and that's all hooked up into one Dell machine. But there's a limit on these mini SAS cards to only have support 128 disks. So now I'm bringing in Dell machine number 2 with a new mini SAS drive and going to do another 1.5 petabytes on that one.
Wow. Awesome. That is crazy. I wish you the best on all this because it just amazes me. And I'll definitely like to follow up with you sometime in the future to see where you're at during that time. Chia blows back up and, I'll see you in your new bigger mansion,
Champagne and Lambos.
So how can people, I mean, I don't know if you're interested, do people just, all you do is communicate on Reddit, or are you on Facebook? But you're on Discord as well, right?
Yeah, so mostly Reddit. That's where I'm reading. So I'm for Chia News, I'm reading Reddit and the official, what is it called? Not Discord, it's Keybase.
Keybase. Okay, right. Yeah, I haven't been on that for some time. Yeah. I'm probably gonna link that picture that you posted up on my description. And I'm sure people may reach out to you and start asking you some questions. Hopefully there's no negative ones. If there are, just take them out. Obviously,
that's okay.
Ignore them. So last words, what, now I already asked you, for newbies, what to do. And of course you answered that. So that was pretty clear. Going forward, right, with Chia, with its IPO and his XCH is still going to be existing, are you going to put money into the stock of Chia?
I'm on the fence. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Not sure. Okay, that's fair enough. It's a hard call because it's 2 separate things, but it's really all one company, right?
Yeah, and I do have faith. Their team is brilliant. The Gene Hoffman and Bram Cohen, you can't ask for a more brilliant team. So I believe in their potential. I probably will get some. I just don't know how much.
Depending on how much it comes out at, right? If it's like 1,600, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe $20. Okay, maybe.
That's right.
That'll be easy to buy. A lot easier to buy. And plus, and if it does go IPO, it's on all the big exchanges.
That's right.
It makes it a lot easier. Yeah. I'm actually, I was very hopeful that XCH has hit Coinbase because that's practically, basically what I use most of the time. And because it's not on there, Gate.io, I actually downloaded all these exchanges that Chia were on, and I just never did anything with it.
I was the same way.
Yeah,
until it hit KuCoin. KuCoin is the one exchange that I found somewhat user-friendly to use. So I experimented in selling some XCH on there.
Hey, Brian, I don't know, did you have any questions for me? I know I've been asking you a lot, but if not, then, we can end this and we'll and I appreciate everything that you.
Maybe you could tell your viewers what your advice would be for someone starting out in Chia, like what to look out for, what mistakes not.
I would say a lot of times people ask me these that type of question, and I'm very negative. I'm like, don't do it, don't ever do it, don't spend your money on this crap or whatever. But meanwhile, I'm doing it, right? So like, why am I doing it? But I'm telling other people not to. I am very skeptical of Chia at this point. And it's always because if the price stayed at whatever it is or went above where it came out, I would have been like, hey, you should start doing it. But of course, that's too late already because it keeps on going. There's a trend, right? I would say if someone was to start right now, I'll say start modestly. Get maybe a 16 terabyte, 18 terabyte drive one, because they are fairly priced right now. And, fill that up and see how that works out for you on a pool, right? And then you could do the calculation. I wouldn't, suggest, and because I don't know how people are financially, I would never say, oh, you should spend like 5-10 grand on this, and then, you'll get this kind of return. I take that because me personally, I know that if someone told me to, spend X amount of dollars, I'll be very, I'll stand off. I'm pretty like, I was like, I don't know about that. Oh, so you mentioned Caleb. For some reason, it almost seemed like you guys knew each other. So you don't know him.
No, he never.
Oh.
But I feel like I know him.
but he took your picture or he took your post. That is messed up. That is messed up.
I uploaded it and he used it.
But for me, it's a lot heavy on real estate. So it's very, I'm very, so it's very hard to ask me about crypto. Like I do invest in crypto. I have a whole bunch of, like, I don't mind it. I don't do any of that, but I did buy, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge, and probably 20 other cryptos that I can't even pronounce. Okay. So like I said, even though I put my money there, I am liquidating some of it to buy real estate.
Okay.
So, you know, it's very hard for me to say, unlike you, where you're like pro crypto, like, you know, you're not even in the stock market. I would say 80% of my funds are in the stock market and only 20% of it is only in crypto.
You know, that's really interesting. And real quick on that note, before I got into crypto, I started to get into real estate investing. And I think I saw in one of your prior videos, you talked about a house in Indiana. Well, I bought 2 houses in Indiana, Indianapolis specifically. And it was a disaster, man. My 2 little $40,000 houses. Like,
now were they you had property managers for them?
Yeah, and that's like a whole new separate video that's pretty entertaining, but it turned out to be a massive fraud. So there was a lot of lawsuits that happened.
Was that
Oh,
I knew that. I read that whole thing from start to finish.
I can't say any more about that because I signed a confidentiality.
I know, but I just want to make this one note. Because of that, I followed, and you know, I was very worried after I bought my houses in Indiana, but not in Indianapolis. It's in Fort Wayne. But to make this video shorter, you know, that person that you can't speak of has a crypto channel now.
Oh my God.
All he talks about is crypto now.
Oh, Lord.
Did you know that?
I did not.
He's still on YouTube. I could send you the links.
That's crazy.
I know you may not even want to see his face, but hey, Brian, I want to thank you for sharing all that great information. I wish you the best of luck. Like I said earlier, that, you know, 3 petabytes and growing. Hopefully I can follow back up with you in the future to see where you are. And hopefully by then I'm still in Chia myself. All right, guys, so I think Brian got cut off. I think he lost internet connection, but I want to thank you guys for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions for Brian, I'm going to link his Reddit article or post. Hey, are you still there?
There we go. There we go.
I was practically finishing up. I don't know what happened. Got cut off and then it reconnected.